All a comedy movie needs is a ridiculous situation, a bunch of completely unhinged characters and actors who knew exactly how to make stupidity fun. And somehow, there are so many comedies that have been forgotten or just underappreciated. So today, we are bringing them back. 10 generational comedy movies that deserve way more love. Number 1, That's My Boy. The story begins with a teenager, Donnie, getting involved with his teacher. After the situation is discovered, she is arrested and Donnie's son is born. Years later, the son Todd has grown up and is about to get married, only for Donnie to suddenly come crashing back into his life. And that's basically where the madness begins. Donnie hasn't exactly been the world's greatest father, and Todd has spent years trying to build a normal life far from him. But now his father suddenly wants to reconnect, and unfortunately for Todd, Donnie has absolutely no idea how to behave like a normal human being. It's immature, ridiculous, and definitely not for everyone. Number 2, Road Trip. The story follows Josh, a college student who accidentally sends an intimate videotape to his girlfriend, and instead of accepting his fate, Josh and his friends decide to go on a massive road trip to retrieve before it reaches his girlfriend. And this trip doesn't go according to the plan, and what starts as a simple mission quickly turns into a series of disaster involving college students, random strangers, and terrible decisions and situations that somehow keeps getting more ridiculous. It's kind of movie where you don't necessarily remember every part of the story, but you definitely remember the ridiculous moments. Number 3, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. The movie follows Peter, a musician who has just been dumped by his famous girlfriend, Sarah Marshall. Completely destroyed by the breakup, Peter decides to escape to Hawaii and try to get his life together. But there is a tiny problem. Sarah is staying at the exact same resort, and she is not alone. She is there with her new boyfriend, a ridiculously confident rock star, Russell. So Peter has basically traveled thousands of miles to forget his ex, only to see her every 5 minutes, and that's where the movie became so relatable. Peter isn't some perfect romantic hero. He's awkward, emotional, and jealous. The humor, romance, and heartbreak balances each other surprisingly well. Let's be cops. Two struggling friends, Ryan and Justin, decide to dress up as police officers for a costume party. Here's where it gets interesting. People actually believed the cops. Instead of immediately saying, okay, this is a terrible idea, they realize pretending to be police officers come with surprisingly sweet benefits. And suddenly, these two guys who are struggling with their lives are treated like celebrities. But eventually, the fake adventure, some twist and turns, goes in a situation where their fake badges have somehow become really enough to keep them alive. If you like buddy cop comedies, this is the perfect one for you. A Man Who Knew Too Little. Wallace Ritchie, a man who believes he's participating in theater of life, an interactive theater experience. Except it's not a game. Wallace actually gets mistaken for an actual spy. He becomes involved in a real international assassination plot, and the funniest part, everyone around him thinks he's highly skilled secret agent. Meanwhile, Wallace is completely clueless. If you're a fan of comedy built around misunderstanding, this one is perfect for you. If you're still watching and got at least one of the movie, comment down which movie are you adding on your watch list. Don't forget to hit a like and share with your friends. Get Hard. Get Hard stars Will Ferrell and KevinHart, and the story is built around James King, a wealthy businessman who gets convicted of fraud and believes he's heading to the prison, and naturally he's terrified. So he needs someone to teach him how to survive behind bars. Enter Darnell, played by KevinHart. The problem is, Darnell actually never went to prison, but James believes he knows everything around the prison. So Darnell basically starts pretending that he's an expert on prison life and begins training James. What awaits him? Okay, once this movie starts introducing twist, the original plan completely spiral out of control. The chaos is built around it. The new guy. Remember those early 2000s movies where being weird in school could be fixed by simply reinventing yourself. The new guy takes this idea and turns it into ridiculous comedy. The movie follows an unpopular high school student. He is bullied, he's awkward, his reputation is so terrible that he decides there is only one solution: start over. Gets himself expelled and transferred to another school with a completely new identity. And when Daisy enters the new school as Gil Harris, he suddenly becomes the guy everyone wants to know. He gets respect, attention, even catches the eye of a popular girl. But obviously, there's a problem. His old identity isn't going to stay hidden forever. If you're someone who loves slapstick comedy, this one is perfect for you. The next one is School of Rock. Jack Black plays Finn, a struggling rock musician who gets kicked out of his own band and needs money. So when his roommate gets a substitute teacher job, Finn does what a responsible adult will do. He pretends to be his roommate and take his job in a private school filled of talented kids. And instead of actually teaching them curriculum, Finn discovers that some kids are genuinely good with instruments. So he decides to turn the classroom into a rock band. And this is where School of Rock becomes much more than just a comedy movie. But its cultural impact goes beyond the movie itself. The movie later inspired Broadway musical and Nickelodeon television series proving the concept had enough life to become much more bigger. Employee of the month. This one is seriously underappreciated. Zach, a laid-back employee working in a big box store. He's just enjoying his life. But then a new employee arrives, Amy, and suddenly Zach has something to prove. Unfortunately, there is another problem. Vince, basically the store's golden boy. He's been named Employee of the Month repeatedly and has built an entire personality around him. So Zack decides if he wants Emmy's attention, he's going to beat Vince and become the Employee of the Month. And suddenly, this completely ordinary workplace turns into ridiculous competition. Zack starts caring about his job for the first time, and the whole thing spirals out of the workplace into a rivalry, romance, and incredibly stupid comedy. Crazy Stupid Love. How do you end a list without mentioning Crazy Stupid Love? Seriously, this movie somehow combines romance, comedy, heartbreak, friendship, and much more. Steve Carell plays Cal Weaver, a married man whose life is completely falling apart when his wife, Emily, tells him she wants a divorce. Cal suddenly finds himself alone. Then he meets Jacob. Jacob is basically everything Cal isn't: confident, stylish, smooth. So Jacob decides to help Cal transform himself, and it actually works. While Cal is learning to become someone new, Jacob starts discovering that maybe his own lifestyle isn't perfect at all. Then he meets Anna, and this is where the movie starts connecting all these different characters and their relationship. When the movie finally hits that twist, everything suddenly makes sense. The comedy works because the character actually feel human. But underneath all this joke, the movie is really about people trying to figure out what love actually means. So here are 10 comedy movies that are really underappreciated. Don't forget to comment down which movie are you adding next on your watch list. Like, share, subscribe. Until the next one, it's your boy Random AF signing off.